Crochet 101. How to crochet the single crochet for beginners.
For this tutorial, you will need
A crochet hook
and a ball of yarn.
So now that we've learned the chain stitch, we can move on to our first real crochet stitch, and that's called the single crochet. What we've created here with our chain stitch row is what we call a foundation chain, and this will form the base of whatever pattern our project calls for. And so we will be working into this foundation chain for the first row, and we're going to be doing the single crochet into this row for this next part of our tutorial. Now if you haven't learned the chain stitch yet, you can go ahead and check that out in our previous video. So to start out, any row of single crochet that's just single crochet stitches, we're going to need to add an extra stitch. So we're going to chain one. Then we are going to go into the second stitch from our hook. So the stitch that's on our hook actually does not count when it comes to a pattern. We're going to count 1 and 2, and we're going to go into this chain stitch that we've created. So we're going to insert our hook right into that stitch, and we want to go into the bottom of the stitch, not the top of the stitch. So here is our chain stitch. It's coming in these two pieces. We're going to go into the bottom part of the stitch. For step 2, we are going to do what we call a yarn over. So just like we did with our chain stitch, we're going to bring the yarn from the back over the front, and then we are going to draw the yarn through the stitch that we just inserted our hook into. Now for step 3, we're going to yarn over again, so we'll bring the yarn from the back over to the top, and then for step 4, we are going to draw this yarn through both loops that are on our hook. Now again, I like to hold the yarn right here at the base of the stitches to give a little bit of extra tension and stretch those loops out, and then we'll pull through both of those loops. Now one thing that I do a little bit differently than other people that you'll see crochet is how I hold my yarn. Now I hold my yarn through between my two fingers here and just wrap the yarn over. And this is a technique that is called wrapping or throwing the yarn, and it's actually not very common. What most people do is they tension the yarn through their fingers and they create a bridge for tension. So I'm going to demonstrate how we do this for you real fast. So we've got the yarn bridged over our index finger, and I've actually got it wound through my fingers, going alternating from over to under and then over and around the pinky, if you can see. So let me show you how we tension it. I usually grab it with my pinky by scooping up the yarn from behind and then wrapping the yarn around once. So we have one loop around. Then we'll go under, over, and under the fingers, and we'll pull out till we get enough tension and length for us. That's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches is probably good enough. So then I'm going to insert my hook into my next stitch. So if you have trouble seeing what that is, it's this stitch right here. I'm going to go into that chain stitch. I'm going to then use my hook to grab the yarn and then pull the yarn through like so. And then it's at this point where I'll open up my fingers to let the yarn move through so we get a little bit more slack. So then we're going to do the same thing. We'll use the hook to grab the yarn, and then we are going to pull through both stitches on our hook. Okay, so let me do that again using this method since it's a lot more common. We're going to insert our hook into the next chain stitch like so. We use the hook to come around and grab our yarn and draw it through. And again, I'm holding the yarn at the base of the stitch to pull the loops open for a little bit of extra slack to make it easier to draw the yarn through. Then I'm going to use the hook again to grab the yarn and draw through both stitches. Okay, so we're just going to repeat this sequence across the entire row until we've worked a single crochet into each of the chain stitches in our foundation chain. And that's how you crochet the single crochet. Want more New Stitch a Day? Check out our website at newstitchaday.com.